Hi, I'm Soumya. Welcome back to my channel. You have heard almost everyone telling you, but hey, think from the other person's perspective. See things from their point of view, or you have never walked in their shoes. And you thought, oh my god, another empathy technique. What we are talking today is about Perceptual Position Technique. It's one of the techniques in Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Here, there is the first position, the first perspective, then there's the second perspective position, and then there's the third perspective position. Normally in empathy, we're always thinking about the other person. Here, there's three ways of looking at the same thing. First, my feelings when this happened to me, and I really sink into that feeling. And once I feel it and I completely associate with it, what self-advice comes up by me really feeling that feeling. Now I completely get out of it and get into the second person's thought process, feeling process. What were they feeling? What other things were happening before this huge argument happened? And then I slowly start seeing things from their perspective. What to keep in mind here is when you are in person B's shoes, do not, whatsoever happens, do not contaminate this person B's thoughts with your own person A thoughts. Third is a detached journalist reporting the situation kind of vibe. There's no emotions involved, there's no feelings involved. There's not enough knowledge about the backstory of both of these people that resulted in this argument. There's only that argument or that heated conversation that happened, that's been witnessed by this journalist and that this journalist is reporting on. I can give an example that's like a real life example. A few years ago, I was at work and it was just a simple scenario where I felt like most of the others that I was underpaid, overworked, undervalued. I wasn't allowed to take more than like 10 days off at a time because the job profile of mine, that whatever I was doing, I was the only one who was doing it. Nobody else could like do it in case I went for a longer holiday. And I worked in the HR department. So I couldn't take month ends off because it's salary time. I also worked in the aviation sector at that time, which meant the crew, their payment happens twice a month. So there's a lot of salary situation happening 3 to 4 times in a month. And whatever weekdays I could take off was just far and few and very much in between. I couldn't really relax even when I took like a 3 days off, because 3 days sometimes was not enough after working for so many months like this. And I was even working 6 days a week. This is my story, my backstory, and then my job, my duties were increasing, but the pay wasn't. In the middle of all this, I was doing my MBA at that time. That was very stressful. Now, things added up. My boss was not even my manager, but I was reporting to the director of a particular department. So he calls me into his cabin and he just quickly doesn't even acknowledge my presence as much. Okay, so what happens here is I have skipped lunch every single day for almost a week because of how much of work I had to do. And I was just on protein bars and coffee, and I was already feeling very unhealthy, groggy. I was losing weight. I'm just giving you a complete idea of this, okay? My boss has no idea what's happening with me. And especially he's a director. He's not even my direct line manager or anything. So he tells me, oh listen, he's just going through these files and he just had some meeting with the vice president of the company, and he says, you know, the thing that you were working on, that's not relevant at this point, so just stop working on that. This deadline, which was like 15th of the month has now been pushed ahead, and now you have to get this done in 4 days, 4 working days. And I panicked. It was burnout. It was absolute burnout. And I just felt like this. I was shaking and I just wanted to quit. And I overreacted. Okay? Once the situation was over, if I was supposed to be using this perceptual positioning, what would I do? I would understand where I'm coming from. I would have asked for help even before the situation that the burnout happened. I would be more aware. I would ask for pulling more resources from other places. I would say I'm spread too thin. I would really voice my concerns before this whole losing weight and going crazy and skipping lunch on a regular basis, all of those things happened. Now, instead of having a heated conversation with my director and raising my voice at him, I could have avoided this burnout happening if I had used this perceptual positioning way before. Now, in perceptual positioning, in this example, I first feel my feelings, then once that is done, I give an advice to myself about coming across as a more competent professional person who can handle this by asking for pulling more resources from different departments and getting someone from that department, that admin from that department. She could help me with these things so that I can focus on this. More delegation and effectively communicating the need for delegation. I should have done that. If I think from the boss's perspective, he has no idea about what my backstory is. He has no idea I've been skipping lunch, so why would he even consider twice before saying that the project I was working on is not valid at this point anymore? So I really understand him so much more. And I also understand he's going through a lot of pressure directly from the vice president of the organization. Now, if I look at this from someone like a journalist who's just reporting this to a news channel, he would just say, Soumya had a heated conversation with Mr. So-and-so, and then this is the resolution they reached. Detached, unemotional, probably throw in some analytical, logical parts, and that's done. The downside of constantly being stuck on the first party is you would come across as egotistical. It's all about you, me, myself, and also you cannot develop a growth mindset if it's always about how I feel and this happened to me and I am the victim. Don't be a victim, be the victor. And if you are constantly thinking about, but my boss is right and I shouldn't say this, I shouldn't think that, in that case, you become more like a caretaker or a doormat anyone can walk over, and you never stand up for yourself. So that's not okay. But if you're constantly like a journalist, detached, unemotional, it just makes you look so cold and like you're not interested in the career or you're not interested in the relationship, because this applies in relationships, in career, in friendships, and even parenting. So that's all about perceptual position. Now let me know in the comments below, is this easy for you? Always thinking from 3 different situations and 3 different people's perspective, is this easy for you? And which part of this is easy for you? For me, being always thinking from the other person's point of view comes first more than my point of view, and that has kind of backfired in a lot of situations. And now I find balance by thinking from 3 sides. So at the end of this exercise, what you gain is you get more good at being empathetic and connecting with people. You can actually build actual long-term relationships because of these perceptual positioning technique. You become more, you come across as more competent and efficient and professional, more mature. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.